Good morning, team. Middle-aged millennial, Tommy G here. On the beach this time, not on the balcony. And I'm a bit low on fuel flying this phone. So, yeah, my little charger didn't work this morning, so I went on wish.com, ordered something that would cost me here about $180 for about $35. Go and check it out. God, I should have an affiliate link to those guys. So, guys, moving the goalposts. So what am I talking about there? And hopefully I haven't got too much wind going on. I've got the wind behind me and hopefully my microphone's kind of shielded. By the way, I bought one of those. The ones with a big fluffy thing, so that wind can be neutralised. So I get one of those for the phone. Put that on Wish. Anyway, anybody think it's my website? Yeah, a little carried away this morning. It's a bit like, beware, it's a bit like crack, especially if you download the app. I had the same experience when I first jumped on a Kickstarter, but this is even worse. Anyway, there's a little quick one for you. Now, it's for stuff coming directly out of China, which is where everything's made now anyway. It's just without the brand name. And all things looked a little suspiciously familiar. So it's probably the real deal. And the rouster is in the houster. So we have Dr. Rouse in the house. And that's my new nickname for you, Pete, because you are officially a doctor, because you're a PhD. So wind a little. Okay, thanks, Pete. But you can hear me though? Just want to do a check-in to make sure that I don't go wasting everybody's time here. So, moving the goalposts, aka, as in also known as. Okay, sweet. So, thanks, Pete. Moving the goalposts, and I'm not talking about cheating. I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about a little. Look, you can call it a mind trick, because let me tell you, we play a lot of tricks in our mind, just ourselves. And so, here for Mindful Monday, which can either be me or it can be me with somebody else. And I'll be inviting some other people. You know, from time to time we've had Anne on when she was here. We might do some while she's actually over the other side of the planet now. And you know, might have other people that are, some of them are mind coaches, some of them just experienced in life. And when we look in that perspective, we're looking at what's in our view, right? The thing is, we can move that around. And what I've found in my experience is that, you know, we have these triggers or these emotional things inside of us that a lot of the time are there to, are sort of connected to, I forgot which part of the brain, I think the amygdala or amygdala, depending on your pronunciation. And I think that's the one that kind of helps us with survival. It's that primal sort of connected to the reptilian part of the brain to survive. So it's there for very good reason, but there are some fears that are a little high. The world becomes that fear, right? So, connection available, there we go. Lost me, I think I'm back on now. Saw the little green bar come down. So, when you're moving the goalposts, and let's say you're hit by some fear, you might not even know, you just got this feeling in your gut that you're feeling very anxious, and you can't even identify sometimes, because it's in your subconscious, what thought and therefore emotion is being triggered. The thing is, you can move that, of course, with your conscious mind. So hang on, whoa, because you can let it become your whole world, and you just become stuck, over anxious, and everything just seems big and bad and shit. But you can move that perspective, and if you're feeling like you're having a bad day, then just look at the week or the month, and to start to broaden out your perspective. Or you can also change your perspective. So you can pan out in time, you can broaden it to look at the bigger picture and say, well, dude, it's just having a tough day today. Life happens, life comes at you, and you can either broaden it or you can actually move it. And that's why I talk about moving the goalposts. Because, let's say there's a number of things that went against you today and you feel like you got nothing done. Or, shit, you took a hit in the bank account, but if you look at it for how long you've been on the planet, and think, well, actually, it's not that small and my life doesn't change right now because of that. And, geez, if you want to go a step further, and if it did, there's maybe a lesson in life that's coming that's not going to kill you, but without being too sort of cliche, it's going to make you stronger. It doesn't kill you, but it's just going to put you on a learning path. The thing is, if you stay present, this stuff's all in your mind. Your life hasn't changed there right in that moment, right? Things haven't changed right now. I remember going through the global financial crisis, pretty shitty time, and I had what I call a perfect storm of shit, where there were a number of things in my personal life, along with the fact that I had a startup business in IT, a cloud distribution business that I was building. It was the right idea, and this is back when Microsoft and Oracle were saying, oh, that shit will never happen. And I'm thinking, this isn't like a company you can buy and kill. This is a phenomenon, and it's happening. And I got on that wave a little early, and the global financial crisis came along, and you know what? It actually financially didn't affect me. On paper, it did. I had people that were swapping currencies and so on, friends, and they were actually realizing their debt. Fortunately, I managed to stay stable enough, watching values of things like, I had real estate loans in Australia, and because of the USD, the exchange rate of the Singapore dollar to the Australian dollar, which is where my assets and debts were, it swung against me, and all of a sudden, within like a week, I was 30% down on asset value, as if someone had just taken that from me. The thing is, because I didn't panic and switch currencies, I don't want to go into too much of this detail, but it came back pretty well, over time. And so, the point is, my life day to day didn't actually change. Was there stress? Yes. Looking back, I went through a whole lot of crap that, along with other things happening in my personal life at the time. Some were health related, not for me, but someone that was close to me at the time. We were doing a major renovation in our place that we had there, and that was going to pieces. There was a whole lot of stuff, right? And the thing is, if I stayed present, I was actually okay. If I knew what I kind of knew now and was better practiced at it, it would have had a lot less impact on me. The thing is, that taught me about perspective as well. And looking back, I looked at how things actually did not change day to day. The thing is, that happens every day, where you've got wins and you've got things that you can interpret are going against you. You put a different meaning on it, and you look at the wins, and you broaden out, how is this actually really affecting me day to day? And let's say over this period of time, how much has it affected me? You've got a completely different perspective. You can choose that negative perspective of crap and make that massive, or you can just choose a different perspective, because how is it actually affecting you right now in the present moment? Pardon my French, but fuck all, right? So that then comes down to self-management, and hence moving the goalposts, not to cheat, but the goalposts go. where you want them to be. And sometimes we get pulled into where we don't want them to be because of a trigger of something that's triggered off some frustration, fear, anger, whatever, some negative emotion. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that how you do have the control of changing perspective, changing the way you interpret something, changing the way you see something. So, and you know, that's, I think, well, for me, in my opinion, it's massive. It's massive to avert you feeling in a state of anxiety, fear, and whatever, and to actually put a positive, not spin. Spin can sort of be associated with something that's not real. But then again, a lot of the time, certain fears and anxiety, these negative emotions, are a spin that are not real as well. So this becomes a big mind game, hence this is Mindful Monday. And you know, perspective is just huge. You know, someone can choose to be negative, and you know how you're with those people that are always stuck in that half-empty glass mode. I got to tell you, it drives me a bit fucking crazy. Not as much. I mean, I'll put a different perspective on it when I'm there now. It would drive me crazy if I attached to it and it was upsetting my expectation. And you know, I'll do that still from time to time today, but I can pull myself up on it consciously now. You know, I know when I'm doing it, whoops, tripped there, and then, you know, get better at then detaching and going, Tommy, well, you set yourself that expectation, champ, and it didn't come in, and you don't get to control all of it, so what are you going to do? You're going to be all frustrated and pissed off and angry or whatever it is, or sad because it didn't reach that expectation? No, that's not right. So, you know, attaching less to things. You know, we all go through financial challenges. Like I said, I did back in the global financial crisis time. Right now, I've got some things happening in the background. Lots of us do. And the thing to learn is, in managing oneself, is not to attach, because things will be up and things will be down. And if you go to heal.me, today I was talking about, in line with, you know, self-healing is keeping focused on intent. And no matter in the short term, if things come against you or go away from you, your intent that you stay true with that, you'll actually stay, you know, those things are going to happen. Things are going to come at you. Life's going to come at you, and the thing is, if you're on intent and you're on purpose, you're not getting pulled left and right like you're, you know, the pinball in a pinball machine. So you can go and hear more about that if you, in fact, want to join the Heal.me community. It's just a couple of little quick questions at the beginning, so I can get an idea of your reason for being there. But it takes just a few seconds. Go and join Heal.me, and you can get additional content in there. We're like 450 members, which has kind of blown me away. I have to admit, I thought you get to 100, that'd be a nice kind of round solid number, and we've gone way beyond that. So very appreciative of the fact that I hope the people that have joined are getting some good, you know, free of charge value. So perspective, moving the goalposts, big one for how you see your world. And the thing we can manage is choosing how we see the world. The part that keeps us attached is the ego. The mind does not like to be wrong. It doesn't like being invalidated, right? So that's where, if you detach from stuff, you're more in a sort of an egoless state. And if you're just not swimming against the current where you're forcing stuff and chewing up energy, but getting to the side of the river, if you're getting dragged down the river, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You could swim up against the current and try and swim against it and swim to the bank, or you can go with the current, swimming at that angle, letting the current do the work for you, but you keep moving left or right, which one it is, until you get to the bank, if you understand what I'm saying, versus going back the other way or trying to hold position and swim across and panicking and getting all negative. A lot of times there's energy that'll come at you, and Peter Rouse is on here, he's pretty good at martial arts, and you know that using someone else's energy, flipping it against them, right, in the less energetic or resistance way, is a great way to be able to handle not only those sorts of situations, but life in general, I find. It's just being able to master that becomes the journey. So, once again, something can come at you, and if I look at where, you see some clouds coming in, if I'm going to use a metaphor, and I'll throw in the cliche, it's like, and I don't want to blow sunshine up my own backside here, but fortunately I've always, even though I've got frustrated and pissed off for a short period of time, probably because I'm Mediterranean, I'm Greek, and we like to express, that I'm then looking for the opportunity in that. I'm looking for where is the silver lining, and what it does is it takes my mind creatively. I become creative and then sort of say, hey, let's change perspective on this. There's an opportunity in here somewhere. This is happening, this energy is coming my way, I'm interpreting it as negative right now. How do I flip it around and put a silver lining on this and make it work for me? Every time, right? There's always a way, and there is, right? Mastering your mind. One other little one I've got is with anxiety, is the triple A's. I don't know if you've heard before, but action alleviates anxiety. So action alleviates anxiety. I got a friend of mine, Nick Hudavanya. I ride with him on Sunday mornings. So I thought, I like that. I'm going to take that one. And it's funny, if you look back, or if you start to practice that when you're feeling anxious and you're stuck, that if you actually take a step, forward, what happens is your mind then starts to focus and you start to get some dopamine happening from a sense of achievement. You're actually starting to move forward, you're making progress. And once you get into that state of mind, it starts to become easier. You start building momentum, the anxiety goes away, you start to move forward. Especially when we get overwhelmed, we've got too many things coming at us. They could be good, bad, or whatever, we just can't. And especially today, where we're getting smashed by digital and we're so accessible, I'll tell you, I've got, my Gmail, 15,000 unread emails. Who gives a fuck? I really don't care. I try and set it up where I've got, the folders, and certain things go into the folders, using the filters. So the stuff that's coming in the future is kind of getting my attention where it needs to. If some things fall off, you know what? People will find me. So people look at my phone and they almost have a heart attack because they're so organized, and they see a lot of red on my phone with unread or unattended to things, and they go into a panic for me, and I'm looking at them, I don't care. I really don't. As long as the important stuff's coming to me, my phone doesn't have to show that. I pretty well know where the key things are. That said, I do tend to take on too much from myself. That's where I will tend to get overwhelmed and try to achieve too much in a short period of time. And with what I said this morning on Hill.me, if I, and I'm getting better at planning now, before, and I've been learning that my day starts the night before, and that starts with me actually getting to sleep at the right time, stopping eating about 2 hours, and that one I've had to practice, still not perfect at it, but at least one, ideally 2 hours before I hit the sack. And I've got my Aura ring. This thing is unbelievable. It is the best bit of digital health tech, and most practical, because it's 7 days of charge. Can take it anywhere in the water, it doesn't matter. But for monitoring my sleep and my heart rate variability during the night, unbelievable. So now I'm getting an idea of seeing my quality of sleep, so that I can be set up to be able to more easily switch my perspective, move the goalposts, be more mentally strong and ready the next day. And it's interesting, when I've had a drink, if I've had some alcohol that night, like 1 or 2 glasses, usually drink. Very occasionally, I'll have 3 these days. But if I've had a couple of glasses of wine, I can see that my heart rate's still high, and I'm not moving into that recovery state until later in the night when I'm asleep. So it's just one of the tools that we use actually in the executive program that we are piloting right now, along with some other digital health tech, and just a little ad. And a good friend of mine who's been very generous with his time, who's very passionate about digital health. Call out to Ed. Is actually putting together a digital health database that we're going to be putting on Middleaged Millennial in the future. So look out for that. We're just reviewing that right now. And there's going to be a lot of digital health companies that can be searched on many different ways on there at Middleaged Millennial. That's double L and double N .com. So, guys, that's probably it. I'm not going to stay on for an hour just to talk about something for the sake of talking about something. But perspective is massive. And what's massive is that we get to choose it, and we're the ones that get ourselves into a negative perspective. So you'd want to think that we're the ones that can also get us out of a negative perspective, because it's all a state of mind, right? And so choosing a different view, that's all it is. Your ego will stay attached to an old view, saying, "No, this is it. This is what's happening," and be very conclusive about that. But it's just a fucking view. It's a view. It's an opinion of your ego, or the mind, which is where the ego lives.